Welcome to Leaders 101, where VLE podcast students are interviewing the leaders at Elite Academic Academy. My name is Cindy Liu, and today I'll be interviewing the CEO for Miss Meghan Freeman. Welcome. So
Thank you.
we just start off with if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Megan. I have three beautiful daughters. This is my 24th year in public education, so I'm honored to be the founder and CEO of Elite Academic Academy. I have a passion and lifelong love of learning. I am an avid reader. I definitely love reading, sometimes for pleasure, sometimes for work. I have two dogs that I love dearly that help me get through my busy days. And I am very passionate about providing alternative education for students and believe that every student needs a personalized plan to be successful.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. And also, I know you mentioned you love learning. So when do you think that started, when you started loving to learn?
I think it comes from my parents, to be honest with you. My mom was a 30-year educator, so I really grew up in a classroom. And so education was always something at the forefront. It's just part of my personality. I am someone who's eager and always looking forward into the future. I feel like I love diversity in my learning. So whether I'm learning how to be a better runner, or I'm learning how to implement esports in our school, I'm learning how to better understand social media because our students are so actively engaged in it. For me, there's always a purpose for learning. I'm always learning with intent to solve a problem, answer a question, or and to serve, to make sure that when I'm leading the school, that I'm understanding the culture from which the children are coming in, their generation and their needs, so that we're always very cutting edge. And to me, it's so important to be humble enough to know what you don't know. I love handing my children the technology and watching them flip through things that are oftentimes problems for me to get through. So knowing that when I learn too, I'm also learning from the younger generation and those that are better than me. It's one thing I love about this school is I've hired people that are so much better than me in certain areas. And I think it's so important to know what you know, but also know what you don't know. And getting people in your circle that are very talented in different areas so that we can serve and do better for our school.
Okay, thank you. Talking about learning, is there anything that you learned now that you would have wanted to learn in the past? You would have wanted
I have
to know?
so much. I think as a leader, one of the most important pieces is timing. And I think when you make a decision to move forward with anything in an organization, you always have to look at the readiness of the people, the students for this initiative. When I was younger, an administrator, I was always like, fire, aim, ready. Oh, this is so great. I think it's so great. And I would implement an initiative that maybe the students weren't ready for, or maybe the teaching staff wasn't ready for because I didn't do the work to make sure they understood why this initiative was important. So as I've gotten older, it's a lot about slowing down and making sure you're methodical and thoughtful and really diving in and looking at, are the teachers ready for this initiative? Will the students receive it well? Asking a lot of questions of myself and giving myself opportunity to gather information and data, not just diving in because I'm passionate about it, but making sure that the passion's there for the entire school and it's in alignment with what needs to happen. So when I was young, I was eager, I was ready, I was always pushing things forward. And a lot of times it worked out, but there were a lot of hiccups along the way because I would turn around and people would be like, way far behind me, not following me, not understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing. So now as a more mature leader going through and having multiple leadership opportunities, timing in leadership is key. And so something I would wish I could tell my 20-year-old self was slow down, Meg, do a really good job being methodical in your decisions. And when you're leading, lead with intent to hear and listen first. Understand what's happening in any part of you, whether it's in your classroom, when I was a teacher, whether it's at a whole school site when I was a principal, or here at Elite in the non-classroom based world, listening and understanding what's happening and having a pulse on the very ground floor from my students' first day of enrollment to their graduation day is so important. So I can make sure that our school is moving forward in a direction that we all believe is important.
What do you think makes a leader, or what the qualities of one?
So many qualities make the good to great leader. I think one of the most important qualities of a leader is having a passion and a vision for the future. I think that anyone can lead an initiative, but without a vision and an idea of where you want something to go, it's really hard for people to follow you. I think honesty and integrity as a leader, being transparent, open, honest, makes you someone who wants to follow. As I've matured as a leader, being a listener, as I talked about previously, it's so important as a leader that you listen with the intent to hear. Oftentimes, leaders listen with the intent to respond because they have an idea or an initiative. But it's so important to go from a good leader to a great leader. You've got to listen with the intent to hear. You've got to hire people smarter than you. Being a leader is being humble, knowing what you don't know, as I said earlier, and hiring a great team of people that are brilliant in their field so they can bring expertise to your department better than you can. I believed in definition and defining so people have expectation and understand their role in your organization. But I also believe in autonomy. Once I've defined that expectation, I want my team to have the flexibility to get to that end goal in a way that best suits them. It's so important to allow your team to use their unique gifts for the betterment of the school. Much like a teacher would, a really good teacher allows students to be themselves. I'm not trying to mold a ton of mini little Meghans. I really want a leadership team that is so passionate because they feel like they're heard, they're valued, they have an honest leader, they understand the direction that we're going. And I have expectations. Leaders are oftentimes have a hard time having hard conversations. So when you're dealing with humans, there's going to be things that are going well and things that aren't going well. And as a leader, for me, it's important. I would want someone to tell me if I wasn't meeting a meeting expectation or there was something going wrong. I'd want to be able to have a collegial, professional, but oftentimes hard conversations. So being a leader, it's important to being able to have hard conversations. When a teacher has to talk to a student about maybe not turning in assignments on time or not logging into their live sessions, those are conversations, and a teacher is leading that student saying, listen, this is the expectation here. We need you to get in. What can I do to help you? But a good leader, just like a good teacher, makes sure that you're looking at each employee as an individual, making sure you're looking at their strengths and lifting up their strengths, but also providing a support system to build upon maybe areas of weakness. So those are the components I believe that make a very well-rounded leader. I think you and I could talk about leadership. You can tell it's an area of passion for me specifically. But overall, those are really good qualities that I believe will not only make a leader a good leader, but if a leader practices those qualities and really works to improve, can be a great leader.
Well, yes, I could really tell it is your passion. So I think, like being a CEO, you would be able to practice that a lot, like your leadership. So, how is your day to day as a CEO of Elite look like usually?
An average day, it really depends. Every day with the humans dynamic, the nice thing about schools, unlike some of the more business aspects in our world, is we're on a year calendar, right? So there is a cyclical level where we're able to build in some structure and framework where, right now, every year we're prepping for testing, right? We're really working hard to make sure you guys are getting ready for that large state assessment in May. We're wrapping up our year. We're getting all of your enrichment activities done. We're preparing for graduation. So the beauty of my day to day is when I look at it from an annual perspective, there's a lot of structure built into my year where I have natural focus when September might be beginning of the year, getting kids excited. So I have a lot of structure of things I have to do. As being a public entity, there's a lot of reporting that's involved in my job, a lot of transparency and accountability. But day to day, let's say I wake up at 6 in the morning. I have a glass of water first, always. It's important for me to start my metabolism. And then I have a delicious cup of coffee. I get my kids off to school. And then I take a few minutes to myself before starting my day, whether I read or I take a little walk with my dogs in the morning. I try to get myself focused. I find that when I dive into work too early, I end up just really kind of losing my day and really want to keep myself focused on what's important. After I finish my morning walk, by about 7:30, I'm sitting down, answering emails or working hard to address any major concerns that may have happened at the end of yesterday. I am on the phone between 6 and 7 hours a day, working with multiple departments across the organization. I could be on Zoom like this or on the actual phone, speaking and working with the team. I'm also constantly being creative and finding new partnerships for our organization. So I may be meeting in person with vendors or superintendents and working to really build a really good relationship with the local community for our organization. So my day, while structured and I have goals I have to meet annually, really depends on the needs of my leaders that I've hired. What is flexibility to change my day? Because if I have an emergency in the virtual academy and they need my brain and my experience, I need to change or filter my other opportunities to make sure that my academy director has the support that they need to be successful. So I wish I could say that my day was very structured and very perfect every day. But as a CEO, my job is to constantly have that vision forward. I build structure in my morning, but usually by the afternoon, I am bending and molding my day based on the need of the school.
Sounds busy. But it also sounds like you love it as well. But I know like being a CEO of Elite, since Elite is like it's a it's a, it's a different type of school. It's unique. So what does it mean to like be the CEO of it compared to like
Well, I'm so blessed. So I come from the traditional world. So I know that Cindy, you went to traditional school before coming to Elite. And so I think, my dream for a long time was to become a superintendent. So I was in the traditional classroom for 10 years and climbed my way up the ladder into the district office and ended up jumping to the charter world by accident. And my husband passed away from cancer. So I became a solo mom in my 30s. And I had the privilege when I was working at the district of overseeing charter schools. And I really fell in love with the non-classroom based model, which is the model we're talking about, that independent study model, the school from home model. And from a traditional perspective, it was very foreign, right? I didn't quite understand what was the draw. Why would families choose to come to a school like Elite? So I went and worked for a competitor for a while and learned a lot about non-classroom based schools. I was able to use the experience I had in the traditional sector. I think it's super important to understand educational code. As a public school, there's a lot of transparency and compliance laws in the educational code that charters must comply to. And being from the traditional sector, those were ingrained in me as I was trained by mentors of my own. So what it means to be Elite. I left the other organization because there was some core value differences. I wanted to have the best school, but I fell in love with our model. I thought that, you know what, if that group of people can create a non-classroom based school, well, why can't I? So I worked with a team of founders who were mentors and some that are still working, Catherine Heredia, who works by my side every day. Teresa Schaefer, who's head of our community relations department, helped found our organization with me. And we got authorized and worked really hard. I mortgaged my home. I had zero pay for a year. I believed in myself, and I was a single parent of 3 beautiful children. I truly believed in this model, and that for children who are looking for an alternative, that together with a fantastic team, we could create something special. So that is how Elite was born. We were so lucky to have the support of 2 awesome schools. So I don't know if you know, but charter schools have to be blessed or authorized by a regular district. So we wouldn't be in existence without the support of the Mountain Empire Unified School District, as well as the Lucerne Valley Unified School District. I have great relationships with both of those superintendents and their wonderful boards who are charter friendly and believe in parent and student choice. So Elite was born because I believed when I got a taste of this model that we could come in and revolutionize it together. I think Elite is very unique in the way it's structured. Having 3 academies isn't really common for an independent study. Usually you just either have a homeschool or you just kind of have a virtual school, or maybe you have a blended school. But we decided to put all 3 types of models in Elite so that when a parent wants and a child wants to school from home, they would be able to. And each academy is a little bit different to meet the needs of our students who are choosing to school from home. So that hopefully gives you a little bit of an idea of why Elite's here and the amazing team that started it.
I do, and Elite is a special place. It's really unique, and well, I feel like I've been here forever almost, but it's been a lovely time.
You've probably seen
But
it grow so much. Have you seen it grow? I mean, you were here when we were
mhm.
really new.
Yeah, I think when I came, it started like 1 year after. Well, this is my 4th year, I
Right.
believe.
Yes.
hmm So yes, it does change every year, but it always changes for the better, I think. So
Hey, that's a good testament. That means, and that's an example of leadership listening to our students and our families and answering the call of you, like seeing the podcast come alive and you joining the podcast club, and seeing you start your own clubs for high school students. You have the K-pop club you started. And so I love the opportunity, Cindy, for you to be a leader in our school. And that's an answer from our students. And so we're continuing to listen to you and make sure that the students have a voice here. And we as adults are going to change and mold to meet your needs. That's the vision that I have as a leader of Elite. You're
well,
my focus.
about the vision, like how do you see like Elite go like becoming in the future?
I
Or
have
do you
so
have
many cool ideas. I have so many cool
mm,
ideas. So with AI, I think that that's the new thing. I mean, have you seen ChatGPT?
mm.
You know,
Well,
that's have you heard of it?
no, I don't know very well.
So it's
But
already there, right?
mm,
Students could have access to AI. And so my challenge for Elite is how do we allow for our students to gain skills and not be scared of AI, but also make sure that we're not allowing AI to replace proficiency or knowledge for students, knowing that students can gain access to intelligence that allows them to do some foundational work. Elite's going to constantly evolve to make sure that we're developing the portrait of a graduate. So one of the wonderful professional developments that's giving you some insights, Cindy, it hasn't come out yet, but we're working hard as a team to develop those core values. What are the core pieces of character traits that we want students like you to have when they leave Elite? And knowing that AI is coming in, proficiency is a goal, but really we want our students to be collaborative. We want them to be critical thinkers. We want them to be kind to one another. And so really working on those soft skills and coming up with concrete ways to help our students develop. I think, Cindy, one of the examples of how you developed your soft skills is through the podcast. You became collegial with your peers, something that you maybe were a little nervous to do at the beginning and you were a little scared to do. You've gained some confidence, and now look at you, you're doing a one-on-one interview with me. Did you think that you would do that at the beginning of the podcast?
oh no, I don't. I think at the beginning of the podcast, I just joined because it seemed really interesting and fun, and it's been a ride. It's been wonderful.
And I've seen you blossom, and you've built those pieces where your confidence is gained. And our goal is to hope that in the podcast time is a small little piece of you learned so much about who you are. You took chances and risks, and you went into unknowns and did it and succeeded. Was it perfect every time? No, but did it stop you from trying? And that really is life. For me, it's about making sure we're giving you as students opportunity to grow and learn and become better. My goal for Elite is when students leave our school, we approach learning so different that out in the world, a student leaves with confidence and ability to collaborate and critically think in such a way that people will go, oh, you graduated from Elite Academic Academy, didn't you? Look at those skills that you have. And so we are really challenging ourselves to think differently. And so I think innovation, if you were to give me a word or an idea of what Elite is, we are constantly innovating for the sake of our students and not scared of our future. Understanding that AI is coming, and how do we make sure that our students are prepared for a future knowing that AI is going to be a part of their daily lives.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens next year, and I'll be here until I graduate, of course, because I just love Elite. I'm not just saying that because we're on the podcast, but I do. And so, well, I think we could wrap it up now, but thank you for coming and joining us today. And Ms. Freeman, thank you for everything that you do for our school and everything, and for like making our school. Be sure to subscribe to Elite's YouTube channel for more updates on Leaders 101. And thank you, everyone. And I hope you all have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cindy. Bye-bye.